So focus on the present. Maryland's goal-scoring numbers are down, but Joe Walters is more than capable of changing that.
That he is. Joe Walters is an absolute sharpshooter. If you look at his angle of release, he can go high to high, what makes it so hard. The next time he goes high to low for the goaltender, and then he has that rifle three-quarter low ripper. He is the real deal.
The midshipmen have a plan in place to mark him tightly.
They're going to try to match up with two great ones of their own. They have Mike Felber, an aggressive defender, and Mitch Hendler, more of a finesse-type player.
We have two great goalies in this game, and we have one of our own joining our team tonight. To size up that story, here's Brian Doherty.
Thanks a lot, Joe. I'm down here on field, and most big games in lacrosse features two of the top goalies in the United States. Harry Alford is a sophomore for University of Maryland. He has had some tremendous games this year, but he's also had some inconsistent games. Matt Russell, on the other hand, is a returning first-team All-American and goalie of the year. His play last year led the Mids all the way to the national championship game. Matt has been bothered by an injury all week, however, and we will find out today if he was going to be able to play in this game. Back up to you, Joe.
All right, Brian, both goalies had better be ready. This is an all-American showdown, a clash of great coaching minds. Maryland and Navy stand and deliver next on CSTV.
Everyone believes they are the rightful heir to the throne. But only one can wear the crown. This spring, the epic continues. NCAA Lacrosse on CSTV. The King of Spring.
Just saw the best damn band in the land playing the Horseshoe. Let me tell you, when you see them dot the I in Script, Ohio, it sends chills down your spine. Wish you were here.
Navy and Maryland, they've met every year since 1946, and oh, how the Terrapins have loved coming to Annapolis and Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, where they've won 9 in a row. The head coach for the Maryland Terrapins in his 4th year as the boss Terp, that is Dave Cottle. He's been worried a little bit. His team's showing some signs of inexperience in the last few weeks. He wants that to change with this Bud Light starting lineup. On attack, Paul, who should we look for other than Joe Walters?
Watch for Xander Ritz. He has to get his teammates involved and be the setup man they need.
Maryland midfielders busy all week trying to improve their shooting.
Bill McGlone, he can do it all from the midfield. He feeds, he dodges, he scores. He's exceptional.
At close defense, the Terps are young and good.
Young and good, but watch for Wittenberg, the transfer from Air Force. He has a flashy game.
So if Maryland is to continue and take a bite out of success, what do they have to do to Navy?
They have to improve their shooting percentage. As of late, they have not been able to put the ball in the back of the net, and they have to get numbers. They need to score 10 goals.
Switching gears now to the Navy sideline, and that's Richie Meade. Not pleased at all with the way his team didn't come out to compete against Georgetown a weekend ago. He's looking for that to change again with this Bud Light starting lineup. Impressive at the attack is a youngster.
Marabito, he's doing a nice job in finding the opponent's seams on the defense.
Navy is always deep through the midfield ranks.
And Graham Gill runs the field exceptionally well.
Defensively, the midshipmen boast some of the best numbers in the nation.
And watch for Andrew Dow, a very physical defender who's often overshadowed by Hendler and Felber.
So we touched on what Maryland needs to do. Now what does Navy have to concentrate on?
They want to get their transition game going, Joe. Look for guys like Bill and Steve Looney to run the entire field and play physical lacrosse.
A physical game always requires sound officiating, and the lacrosse world lost a very good friend last weekend. A referee for some 30 years, Scott Boyle, collapsed on the field at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. When the whistle blows today, we'll be remembering him.
Heart. Rigorous academics, leadership training, and character development challenge our midshipmen and shape them morally, mentally, and physically. With a common pursuit of honor, courage, and commitment. Dedicated to serve as officers in the Navy and Marine Corps. These young men and women are the U.S. Naval Academy. Leadership and vision for the 21st century.
Maryland, losers of 2 of the last 3, a mark of 5-3. They are fired up to see the midshipmen. The Mids are 7-2, ranked 8th in the nation here on home field with the colors proudly represented. Harry Alford is in the nets for Maryland. This young man has burst onto the scene and done so in dramatic fashion. At the opposite end, the goalie of the year in the U.S. at the Division I ranks, Matt Russell, a season ago, first-team All-America. He has a bad ankle. He was injured yesterday, has accepted 6 different treatments in the last 24 hours, but he's ready to go. To the midfield and the face-off X, where Dave Tamburino has performed better for the Terrapins, over 60%. Chris Pizanka was one of the national leaders a season ago. Paul, Brian, we are underway and very much looking forward to this one with you on CSTV. The Terrapins visiting Annapolis in the Road Red. And immediately, it is Jimmy Burrell to get it started. Little give and go, right to the hoop, and he was crushed as he delivered that shot.
Look for each offense to really get established here in the beginning moments of the first quarter. Both teams have been stymied offensively as of late. They're going to try to get it going.
We saw in our starting lineup that Andrew Schwartzman has been moved from midfield to starting at attack. He is a converted attackman, so he should be comfortable there, as the Terps are without Michael Phipps tonight with a leg injury.
Yeah, Joe, most midfielders that are running on the first midfield line, he's played attack in high school. He's ready to go back there.
Just getting started. A little more than a half minute in from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Brendan Healy, he of the outstanding work ethic, to Joe Walters, who's shaded there by Mike Felber. Those two were teammates in New York during Empire State game play during their high school days. They know each other well. The Terrapins, with time of possession a factor in this one tonight, coming out in a deliberate manner. Matz's pass gets away. Hustling for it, it's Bill McGlone. Challenged immediately by Seth Denola. And this one will bounce out of bounds and belong to Maryland.
If you watch, Navy defensively is going to match up with McGlone with Mitch Hendler, normally a close defender. McGlone grabbing so much attention from the opposition.
It's McGlone who will start the clear now for the Terps in red. And this is the time of the year, guys, where a lot of guys are playing banged up. Bill McGlone just the same. A bad shoulder injury, a bruise that has been bothering him for weeks. He says he actually has his arm go numb for 25 or 30 seconds on stick checks or after an especially hard delivery of a shot.
And Mitch Hendler is not afraid to lay lumber, and I'm sure he knows that McGlone's a little banged up, so this is a real interesting matchup here.
Clipper Lennon, 22 in the gold, one of the top short stick defenders in all the nation, out there for the midshipmen now. Quick drive, and that one is just dumped wide as Russell had to be ready at the near post for the hard-charging Andrew Schwartzman.
Schwartzman just going a little bit too close to the crease there. The rule in Division I, you can shoot, and the ball has to cross the plane before you land in that crease area.
Just a little less than 2 minutes in, and looking for the first tally on the night between Maryland and Navy.
Looks like we got a man down here, Joe.
It will be the first extra man situation for the Terps, who will work now 6-on-5 in the red jerseys.
Got to watch out for Walters on the top right there. He is widely regarded as the greatest shooter or the best shooter in NCAAs right now.
It's accuracy, Doc, but it's also his lightning quick release.
Oh, it's a quick release, and that's what we're going to have to watch here with Russell and a bad ankle.
The Terps get right into their offensive set. The pass is a poor one. Walters plays man ball with McGlone, and the Terps still work extra man.
Coach Cottle has to be upset right now. From an offensive standpoint, you really want to get a shot in the extra man.
They'll move it around the perimeter, and that pass is too high. It gets over the head of the 24-year-old senior Dave Matz. It's a turnover back to the midshipmen, and Dave Cottle is none too pleased.
Coach Cottle is not happy. Offensively, you want to bang the ball around. You want to get the defense to shift and rotate and then get a high percentage shot on that extra man. You're going to see a lot of jitters here. This is a huge game.
First offensive chance now for the midshipmen in the goal. John Bersner is one to watch along with Ben Horn and the freshman Nick Marabito. That's the attack for the Navy midshipmen. Graham Gill along with Bill Looney and Steve Looney rounding out the 6-on-6.
Yeah, Joe, just real quick, it looks like Maryland's putting their long stick on Graham Gill, basically saying that that's the person that they fear the most in Navy's midfield.
And here he comes. Gill working against Tyler Herrick. The pass gets away as It was Bersner taking his eyes off that feed. The turnover goes back. The jitters continue.
The jitters continue. Unforced turnovers. Those are the type of turnovers that can't happen when there's not pressure on the gloves. They're just turning the ball over aimlessly.
Harry Alford working the clear along with defensive help from Ray McGill. And McGill will leg it across for Maryland. This is a Navy team that's won 4 of its last 5. But they were disappointed with their performance against Georgetown as the Hoyas roughed them up severely on this field and across the way at the yard to the tune of 11-6.
Joe, it's very interesting. Navy does have a core of their players back, but they lost some great offensive players from a year ago. Guys like Ben Bailey. They were really able to stretch the defense, and you can't forget about the loss of Ian Dingman.
On the move, this is another Ian Healy, who fired it wide. No score in this one. Nearly 4 minutes done in the first quarter. Along with Paul Carcaterra and Brian Doherty, Division I All-Americas both, I'm Joe Beninati. Glad you've tuned in with us on CSTV. A regular season matchup between Navy and Maryland from here in Annapolis. Schwartzman, whose brother Jesse has a big game tonight, the starting keeper for Hopkins against Duke.
That should be a great game down there in Baltimore tonight.
2 unbeatens in Division I. Here's Xander Ritz behind the cage. Ritz bulked up in the offseason some 15 pounds. He's still very, very slender. Shakes away from a defender and puts that one off the outside. Russell leaves the crease even with that bad ankle.
Yeah, here's where we're going to see what kind of condition Matt Russell's in right there. He gets worked on the sideline. His ankle's got to be bothering him a little bit after that hit, Joe.
If you're just joining us, a badly sprained ankle yesterday in practice. At 1 o'clock today, the doctors for Navy were saying it's a no-go for you, Matt Russell. But at 5, he told them he was ready.
But Joe, we're talking about Matt Russell. Here's a kid in the month of January went through SEAL training. 4 hours of sleep within a 48-hour period. The kid is tough.
As the mids will slow it down and work with William Wallace, the 21-year-old sophomore from Michigan. Navy in the goal.
Gotta love the name William Wallace, though, Joe.
Can't beat that.
Up over here.
Not to get confused with the 13th century Scotsman who defied a king in Braveheart.
You know, he fits right in here at Navy, trying to go out here and win one for the mids.
William Wallace. On the move, this is Bersner. Wonderful feeder, has led this team in assists. Moving from the top, Dwayne Osgood. These two teams have been having offensive difficulties, and we have no score. 6 minutes deep in the opening quarter. Osgood again.
And if you watch, while Navy attacks the goal, the defense of Maryland is really doing a nice job chopping the field in half and making those midfielders go down the angles in the far pipes.
Tommy Wallen was turned back by Ryan Clark. Osgood shimmies and shakes on the perimeter. Here comes Bersner on the fly. They'll spin the rock for Osgood again. Against the short stick defender. The double comes quickly. This is a Maryland team that is extremely well coached defensively.
Yeah, you can tell right there, Joe, that Maryland's going to slide very quickly to the short sticks, not enable them to just beat their short sticks to the goal.
One more time, they'll circle the wagons. And here comes Ben Horn, 22-year-old senior who hails from California. That one right through the goal mouth.
Great to see another West Coast representative in Division I lacrosse, Ben Horn. From the state of California, we're seeing more and more of that as the game of lacrosse really expands westward.
Mids with another threat. This one is just scaled wide as Marabito was cleaned out. Good backup, though. Navy persists on offense.
This is a great possession for Navy, Joe. It's giving their defense and Matt Russell, you know, after taking that big hit, it's giving them a couple seconds to really catch their breath. They probably have the ball here for about a minute or so. Looks like they're changing guys right now.
Here comes Osgood, a man who's had some major knee difficulties in the past. They'll keep it outside for Marabito, who's come through Navy's prep school and performed extremely well in this his plebe year, his freshman year at the academy.
Coach Meade made a point of that during the week when we spoke to him. The prep school has almost worked as a redshirt season for them.
Sub in from the midfield. Here comes Gill, trying to force feed the crease. That went off the cross of Billy Looney. Backed up by Bersner. Given a whack immediately, though, there by the solid defense of Ian Healy on the skip. Steve Looney thought better, resets it with Graham Gill.
Yeah, Joe, Navy got their first midfielders on the field right there and almost had a 5-on-4 opportunity, catching Maryland napping on the substitution right there.
The Terps have been defending for what feels like minutes.
Yep, and they almost fell asleep there in a substitution.
Looney heaves it high. You were touching on Matt Russell getting banged up moments ago. Let's drift back to that earlier in the first quarter of this scoreless game.
Yeah, Matt Russell taking the ball here, trying to run up and down the field. The Maryland-Navy game is tremendous, physical contest. This is him in the warm-ups. You can see he has a lot of problems there pushing off of his left leg. That's going to be a problem and something to watch all game today. A lot of the shots to the right side of his body he's going to have problems with because he's going to be pushing off of his left foot.
I'm in real good company in the booth tonight. That's Brian Doherty, one of the best goaltenders in the world these days at the professional ranks. Paul Carcaterra, former All-America at Syracuse, joining me, as well as we're with you on CSTV. A little bit more than halfway home in the opening quarter, and surprisingly still scoreless between Navy and Maryland. Here come the mids. Alford, watch that one go off the meshing. Bersner, sneak attack, and right through the crease.
And they still get possession. They've had the ball forever down here, Joe.
They have. Marabito working.
Bersner using his quickness at the X. Real quick change of direction to break a defense down and really draws a lot of attention. That's why he's been able to be such a top assist man in the country the last couple of years.
Steve Looney having some difficulties with his footing. Number 8 in the goal. He's been sliding around on a couple of face dodges. This field is worn down. The midshipmen have had the ball for better than 4 minutes. Quick feed to the crease away from Bersner. Gill will back it up. And this offensive chance continues. Bersner. Harassed there, badgered by Wittenberg, and he's scorched one wide.
If you look at Navy, they're just not getting to the top side and creating lack of angles for themselves. Bersner again, you saw Gill with the shot, was not able to extend the angle, and Bersner did the same.
Yeah, Paul, it's pretty obvious. The last 5 or 6 shots they had, they're just running around the crease, not taking the extra step or two to get to the middle of the field, sell out, and score the goal. You know, something that has to do with that is Maryland's tenacious defenders are sitting right there and ready to punish them if they go in the middle of that crease.
Navy with a slim lead in the shots department. No score in this one, little more than 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
It's very interesting to see John Bersner's role for the midshipmen this year. Last year, Ian Dingman carried the ball quite a bit. Bersner, not a big physical guy, taking a pounding back there at the X.
And Ian Dingman is no longer at the academy. Academic issues are forcing him away from Annapolis. Bill McGlone, 25 goals a year ago, second to the outstanding Joe Walters. McGlone shakes loose and scores! Bill McGlone.
Bill McGlone. McGlone salivating. He has a short stick on him. That was just a mismatch right there. Normally they'll have Mitch Hendler on them. If you look at this, he just gets nice and low on his roll and goes high to low there. Very difficult shot for Russell to save when you go from high to low.
Bill McGlone, who had his goal-scoring streak ended last week, back to the X looking for possession. Now Maryland with the win and a chance to bookend some goals together. McGlone has goals in 24 of his last 25 games.
And if you look at McGlone's numbers, very balanced for a midfielder. He's also a strong feeder because he grabs so much attention from the defense. They're ready to go right away, and he has great vision.
The captain of the mids, Seth Denola, looking to play clear. Navy in the goal. In possession, it's Steve Looney. He wants to run. Looney hit high by Tamburino. No flag. Now one will settle down. We hear the whistle. An extra man situation to come.
Joe, it's pretty important for Navy to get one here on man up and really answer Maryland's goal there. It was kind of disheartening.
High hit there. You have a cross-check on the Maryland defense. Let's see if Navy can capitalize on the misfortune of the Terrapins.
The officiating crew, Brian Abbott, Andy Motzko, and Greg LaCour, spotting the hold against the Terps. 6-on-5 now for the mids. Looking to answer the strike of Bill McGlone.
Momentum, Joe, is so important in this game. You know, they got to answer right now with a man-up goal. It was very frustrating. They had the ball for 4 or 5 minutes down one end. Maryland gets the ball, scores immediately. They have to answer.
You just took a peek at the special teams effectiveness for these two groups. Man down and extra man.
Very interesting, too. Navy had the ball for quite some time in the first quarter, but Harry Alford has not had to make a stick save yet.
Not yet. Bersner back behind for Marabido. He'll skip it up top. On the way, bullseye! A clean rip by Graham Gill.
Graham Gill bringing the thunder. That is a great shot right there. Graham Gill with a three-quarter release. Very difficult to know where he's going from that angle. Pinpoint accuracy for Gill. Caught Alford maybe a little bit too high in the crease there. That's why he was able to beat him near pipe.
You know, Paul, Joe, that's one that Harry's probably got to have to save. You know, they played almost 12 minutes there. He hasn't seen a shot, but that stick side high from 12 yards right in the stick. He's got to have that one.
Pizanko wins the draw. Bang! Right off the face-off, Ben Horn. A brilliant play by Pizanko. He won the draw ahead to himself and then just goosed it over for Horn's delivery.
This is why Navy's so dangerous. Pizanko's one of the top face-off men in the country. Just shimmies the ball over to Horn, and Horn almost in the same exact place where Graham Gill ripped one. Stick side high. I don't know, Doc, is the book out on Alford that you have to go to his stick side?
Nah, I don't think yet. You know, Harry's probably a little nervous. He played a lot of minutes without seeing a shot. He's just a little rattled right now. He'll get into it, though, I have a feeling.
The Terps win this draw. Dave Tamburino doing the honors. 2-1 for Navy if you're just tuning in. Division I college lacrosse on CSTV. For the midshipmen, lightning in a bottle. Just a couple of goals in less than 10 seconds. That'll do it quite nicely.
And Coach Meade really emphasized over this last week that they wanted transition. They wanted to push the ball and give their offense opportunities to put up numbers.
Guys, the other thing he was saying was if you shoot it low on Alford, you're doing him a favor. So both of these shots have been looked and earmarked for the top corner. Xander Ritz turns and fires as he was defended there by Steve Looney.
A good example of Navy trying to get transition is Coach Meade told us in the interviews there. Stephen Looney and Billy Looney are going to stay on the field and play defense so they can get up the field and create transition and create offense for their team. They're out there right now.
Andrew Schwartzman with the ball for Maryland, 38 in the red.
Schwartzman's an attackman tonight. He's getting short stick. So what Navy is basically saying is we're more concerned with Ian Healy up at the midfield, Billy McGlone. We want to play Schwartzman with a short stick and make him beat us.
Dan Harris is now on Xander Ritz. Ritz has to like that. Moves it for Walters. That little submarine bid went well wide.
Look for Walters tonight to come off a lot of screens. They know how deadly of a shooter he is. For him to get the opportunities, he's going to have to come off picks and repicks. They're not going to let him stand still and shoot the ball from 10 uncontested.
Dave Matz back behind the cage, 24-year-old senior from Vermont. Matz being defended by Steve Looney. Looney went to the coach and said, you know, I want to work more defensively this week. They've been using him out of necessity in a primary offensive role. And Looney was brilliant in the defensive posture a season ago when Navy went all the way to the championship game and lost by a whisker to Syracuse. Leading by 1 over the visiting Terrapins in red. Walters barking out the offensive set. Schwartzman again, drawing Dan Harris. Harris taking away the top side. This one gets away, and Matt Russell will say, thanks very much. Let's begin the clear.
And if you watched on that last play, Schwartzman, the attackman, has a short stick on him. They're going to keep playing him with a short stick until he can establish some offensive production.
On the move, here's an unsettled fast break. Bersner ripped it wide.
There you go. It's a good example why you got Looney out there in the field on defense. Sneaks through the midfield, gets behind Maryland's midfield defense, creates a scoring opportunity for Bersner.
If you look at the last shot, they're still going high. Bersner wants to throw a high ripper at Harry Alford.
Back to the live action, little over a minute to go in the opening quarter. Quick moving and low scoring with the mids in front 2-1. trying to build on that lead now. It's Ben Horn.
I don't think you're going to see too many of the midshipmen throw the ball low on Alford. He's had an outstanding season thus far and is really gobbling up anything that goes near his feet.
Yeah, Harry, Paul, he's got a great build. He's 5'11" and real stocky, and he's really short, or not short, but he's really quick to get down to his, the ball down to his feet there, and he has a great quickness and explosive hand.
25 saves in his first start this year as the Terps picked up a solid win, an important win for the future over Georgetown, now that the Hoyas have proven themselves to be a very, very good squad this year. Wittenberg, nice takeaway, kept it on the ground. Dangerous here, flinging it to the front.
That's what you do not want to do with the ball if you're Wittenberg there running around the sidelines.
As I mentioned in the pregame, Wittenberg is a flashy defender. He is the Terps guy to go out and press and really force turnovers, and he did it that time.
But Paul, you don't want to throw the ball right back in the middle of your goal right there.
That's a no-no.
That's a no-no. He'll learn that. He's only a sophomore, and I'm sure Coach Cottle's got a couple words for him over there on the sidelines. Great takeaway, not a great decision when you have the ball.
Tommy Wallen gets hit with that flag, so Maryland, late in the quarter, will try to improve on the 0 for 1.
And here you have the penalty. It's actually a trip on Navy. Looked like maybe Pazanka got him on the trip there.
They nabbed Wallen.
Maryland's just going to hold the ball here, probably take a 46 seconds or 45 seconds left and start the second quarter with the ball.
Wise move on extra man late in the quarter. If you maintain possession, don't shoot it, don't turn it over. They will start the ball with the ball in quarter number 2. Dave Cottle anticipated this to be a very intense affair, and it has not disappointed. Richie Meade and the midshipmen. 2-1 Navy after 15 minutes. We'll get you back to Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium for quarter number 2 on CS in Annapolis, Maryland tonight. 2-1. It is Navy after 1. Our U.S. Lacrosse call to action. For more information about U.S. Lacrosse or to join, why don't you visit uslacrosse.org. U.S. Lacrosse, one for all. There was a threat of rain throughout the day, but it has been a very, very pleasant night. Clean sailing for these two clubs.
Maryland's a man up here, Joe, starting the second quarter. Let's see if we can get Joe Walters, or see if they can get Joe Walters on time.
This is a Maryland team. Their overall goals per game numbers are down nearly 2 goals from this time last year. That hard shot from McGlone stinging off the defense there. Pat Riley stepped out. Riley, who's had a broken thumb this year against Bucknell, a tough loss. Maryland, their average goals just a little less than 10 on the season. Working on the extra man. Walters straight away. Extra man winding to its conclusion. Mids back to full strength.
Great job of Navy really containing the extra man of Maryland. It's the second time we've seen Maryland unable to get a shot off in the extra man.
Walters running away from Felber. Switching hands. And finding Ritz. Ritz wants to make eye contact with Walters. Really trusts him on every pass that he can force inside. Back behind Schwartzman. There's a drive from Walters. It's booted away by Russell.
Walters always one step away from a cannon-like shot. Has tremendous wrist. If you see how quick he can get that shot off, it's amazing.
In a heartbeat. On the interchange, Ritz has a defender hung up. Riley forces him to one side. Ritz looking to finalize, and he does! Xander Ritz. Xander Ritz beating Matt Russell and tying this at 2. Xander Ritz turns the corner and then just needs a little room.
Navy, thanks to Xander Ritz. What a great move from behind the cage. If you see, he hangs his defenseman up. They don't know if he's going right or left. He sneaks by that right side and stings it offside on Matt Russell. Xander Ritz is the player, Joe, that Coach Cottle really wanted to step up.
Xander Ritz now with points in all 9 games. Maryland, a mark of 5-3, bringing that record with them to Annapolis. Squaring off with the midshipmen. Both of these teams very, very anxious to put some wins up. As you look at the trends in this one so far, it has been a very tight game. Tamburino and Pazanka to draw. Chris Pazanka, at times last year, was the #1 guy in the nation. He was ping-ponging back and forth with Andy Corno of Georgetown. Mids in the goal, Steve Looney. Starting this offensive set, 6-on-6. Wallen has room. And that howitzer went wide.
That shot by Wallen had some velocity. Didn't have a great angle, though. It was really working towards the backside of the net when he ripped that righty. If he had it in his left hand, he would have extended some more angle.
Early in the season against Ohio State, a hat trick for Wallen. He only took 3 shots. Speaking of shots, 10 all so far in this one.
It's 10 all, 2-2 on the scoreboard. Coach Meade made a great point earlier in the week. Some statistics that you really want to focus on. Face-offs, ground balls, and clearing percentage. That will tell the tale of this evening's outcome.
Wallen sliding in there. That low shot was eaten up by Harry Alford.
There you go. We've been talking about it all broadcast here. You throw one down at Harry Alford's feet, you might as well start running back and getting in and start riding, because he's going to eat it up.
On the move, venturing back ahead, Ray McGill. With all the losses defensively for the Terps, guys like Pasavia and Zink, McGill said, I lost a lot of my buds, guys I looked up to. The youngster, just a 19-year-old sophomore.
But that says a lot about the coaching system that is installed at Maryland. They can replace guys like Lee Zink and Pasavia and replace them with guys like Wittenberg, emerging stars. So Coach Cottle really teaches that end of the field exceptionally well, and Coach Laskovsky as well.
Tied at 2, just past the 3-minute mark. If you're just tuning in, Maryland with the ball in red. Joe Walters, one of the nation's top goal getters a season ago. #1 in the red is the man to watch, 46 markers last spring. Ian Healy will turn. Healy on the sweep. Nudged away, Schwartzman back behind the goal. The quick feed inside.
Yeah, Joe Walters right there. Joe was wide open. It was the one time that Felder, he actually shook Felder, and I guess it was Xander Ritz or Schwartzman back there, couldn't see him, and tried to feed one in the middle of the crease there. Joe Walters cannot get loose of Felder, and when he did right there, it wasn't found.
On the sweep there from back behind. That one was just sent wide by Drew Evans, an 18-year-old freshman. Good hustle on the backup. It's Maryland ball. A defensive stance for the Terps, and we're talking about the guys that left. Defense
Right now, Joe, are saying, Coach Cottle, cry me a river. You have guys like Wittenberg, top-notch defensive players.
Brian, it's not often you see an MVP guy be a short stick D-midi like Paul Gillette, but Navy had one in the fact that Matt Russell shared team MVP honors with Steve Looney last year, too.
Yeah, I had a guy named Pat McGuire back when I was playing, and those are the guys as a goalie, those are your buddies right there. Those are the guys that you're throwing the ball to on clears. Those are the guys that you're trying to get the ball to when you have defensemen and offensive guys running around chasing you.
The intensity of Mitch Hendler as he brought it across. This will be back to Maryland. The Terps in the red in a 2-2 tussle with a midshipman here in Annapolis at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. So glad you're along for the ride on CSTV. Joe Beninati with Paul Carcaterra and Brian Doherty.
A careless mistake there for the midshipman. What you try to do when you're clearing the ball is throw another long stick off the field.
Oh, tremendous shot. The accuracy on display from Joe Walters.
Are you kidding me? Walters. Boy, oh boy, can he bring it. Look at this shot by Walters. The last series, he went low to low. Russell thinks he might be going low, and Walters rips the ball left-handed. 3-quarter motion, high to high. Impossible to save.
Yeah,
Doc, I don't even know if you could stop that one.
Well, I'm a lefty, so that would have hit me right in the stick there, Paul. But the key to Matt Russell is he comes way out. As the shot's coming, he's moving out. But the guy is shooting the ball that hard and that accurate, and he's moving at the same time, almost impossible for him in that particular instance.
And Brian, that's more of an old school style.
Yeah, there's plenty different ways to play. Matt Russell's a guy that he's a small guy, he's a quick guy, but he's going to come out there, and if you watch his feet, he'll be moving as the guy shoots.
Joe Walters said it during the week. He told me, Matt tries to play a little guessing game with me, and if I locate well, we'll be all right. He located beautifully there moments ago, giving Maryland the 3-2 lead.
And he baited him on the prior series. He shot low to low, and that is what makes Walters so special. He has 3 releases. He has his low to low, he has his 3-quarter rocket, and then the high to high rip, what we just saw.
He was held to just a single goal last week as the Terps were roughed up by Virginia 10-2 in Charlottesville, hoping to make amends against Navy tonight. Marabito, who leads this team in goal scoring as a freshman. Billy Looney, perhaps the most talented, most gifted of the Looney brothers. Graham Gill, who is tallied tonight. Jump shot right to Harry Alford, looking to start the fast break.
Great check there by the long stick from Maryland, getting it on Graham Gill's hands and making that pretty much a popcorn save for Harry Alford. I think it was only going about 25, Paul.
Popcorn, I love it.
Popcorn, Joe. That's what you say as a guy throws one at you, you catch it, and it's kind of letting that shooter know that, you know, that one was one of his best efforts.
What's another saying? 2 for a buck?
Yeah, you got nice pass.
Nice pass.
I was open. Are you kidding me? Is always a good one, too, there, Paul.
I only hope that we could have you mic'd for sound in the summer. That would make it very interesting.
I don't know if you can put it on TV, though, Joe.
What's it feel like to be traded, by the way?
Feels pretty weird. We'll get into that later. I've been traded twice. Once for Casey Powell, now for Greg Catrano.
Then again, you were just traded to the defending Major League Lacrosse champs. That can't hurt.
Nope.
Brendan Healy fires one that's deflected away.
Look for Maryland here to attack the short sticks. You have Schwartzman behind, now being marked by Hendler, so they'll probably go for the midfield. Guys like Healy and McGlone.
Felber matching up with Walters. They were seeing a lot of each other in last year's game when Navy went to Maryland and beat the Terps. The Terps were #1 at the time. It was the first time ever that Navy had beaten a team ranked #1 last year, 9-6 in College Park. Stutter step move from Brendan Healy. Walters off the curl, and that one is snatched away by Russell.
Joe, you mentioned last year, Navy was able to upset the #1 Terps. That was the turning point. The following week, they really beat up on Army and then played Johns Hopkins to 1 goal, and it started their magical tournament run.
You know, they were ranked #2 at one point last year. The guys in the gold now was the highest ranking for a midshipman team since the early 70s. Tonight, they come in ranked #8. Mids in possession. Even in full strength, 6-on-6. Good defensive work turned in there by Ray McGill. McGill then double teamed. Marabito floored him. Gavin Webb was there to support, and now the Terrapins should have the free clear.
There you go. There you see just something a little bit about the Maryland-Navy game. It's always one of the most physical, demanding games of the season. These teams just, Navy obviously speaks for itself, but Maryland's got a bunch of tough guys too, and it's really a slugfest out there. You know, playing in 4 of these games, you've never felt so bruised and physically beat up than after this game.
That's a great point, Doc. Normally, you don't see attackmen playing so physical. The Navy attack right there was riding very, very hard.
Knocking Wittenberg over right there, too. You know, these little attackmen are throwing their weight around.
Michael Hartopoulos on the fly. The man who's defending him there, that's Seth Denola, who started last year as the starting goalie for the midshipmen. Lost his job to Matt Russell in Game 3, and from there, Navy's fortunes really soared.
I guess he lost his job to the first-team All-American.
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt.
A high hit, a flag down, an extra man situation coming up for the midshipmen. Fans reminder, next Saturday, the 16th, the midshipmen back in action. They'll be tangling with the Black Knights of Army. Army against Navy from right here at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. April 16th, 12 Eastern Time. NCAA Lacrosse on CSTV.
We have another man-up opportunity here for the Terps. Their last 2 man-ups, they weren't even able to get a shot on Russell. They have to contest on this one right here.
No shots will lead to 0 for 2 extra man. 3-2 Maryland, getting late in the opening half. Walters setting his sights for Healy, back for Walters again, and getting a stick in that shooting lane immediately was Pat Riley.
Yeah, just something I'm noticing up here. Brendan Healy, we talked to Coach Cottle. He said he's been real inconsistent throughout the year shooting. He doesn't look comfortable at all out there. He doesn't look like he even wants to go to the ball to cage and release a shot because he has a feeling, I guess, that he's going to miss the net.
Walters is the last man on the board, giving Maryland the 3-2 advantage they now enjoy. McGlone, badgered there on the outside. Tried to corral that pass with one hand.
That's 3 trips for the Maryland offense without getting a shot on goal. They just got a shot that time, but not on goal. We have transition here for the mids.
That we do on the fly and just sent wide by Dan Harris, coming off of a season that Rich Mead called his best last year.
And that's one of the keys here. Coach Mead wanted transition from the defensive end. Really forced Maryland to play defense unsettled.
I see this Dan Harris doesn't even wear arm pads down there, Joey. Maryland's defense didn't really take him seriously. He rips one stick side high, barely misses the cage, but I bet you he probably had Harry off guessing a little bit down there. No arm pads.
Now the mids will go with their first midfield unit, looking to gain a tie with visiting Maryland. Marabito looking backside, down on the ground. Looney will find Ben Horn. Once more for Steve Looney. Early in the season, a 5-goal game for number 8 against Providence. He's been quiet in the last couple of weeks goal scoring. Bersner kicks it one more time. Bill Looney forced away, watched carefully by Ryan Clark.
These Loonies really embody midshipman lacrosse. Warrior-like players, both ends of the field, never come off, and really play at 100 miles an hour the whole game.
Another flag settling to the turf. Navy fans reacting, knowing that they are going to have the extra man. With just over 4 minutes to go in the opening half.
Right there, we had a slash. It's a slash on number 12 for the Terps. Ray McGill laying a little bit too much lumber there. And Navy gets another opportunity. They're 1 for 1. That should be an interesting stat to follow. The man advantage. See if they can capitalize, and Maryland continues to be unable to cash in.
The extra man goal came back in the first quarter. Compliments of Graham Gill. Ben Horn will keep it moving. Marabito back behind. Marabito, no angle. They dump it inside and score! Beautiful quick stick pass, and Steve Looney pots the tying goal.
2 for 2 on the man up, the midshipman. I don't know if Looney meant to shoot that. I think he initially tried to catch the ball. And what happened? Oh no, he did get that shot off. What a quick stick by Looney. It's a one-timer in hockey. Looney has his lacrosse version of the one-timer. Steve Looney, 15 goals on the season for a midfielder that plays both ends. Amazing.
Yeah, Gavin Webb is right there, threw a hard check down on Looney's hands, and he's ended up getting just enough. Sneak it over Harry Alford's right shoulder.
Tamburino just popped another face-off for Maryland, and Tamburino seems to be warming up to Pazanka or whomever the mids will throw out at the face-off X so far tonight. We are deadlocked at 3 and a chance for us to catch our breath. The midshipmen and the Terrapins continue for you on CSTV right after this. Mooney for Navy, Joe Walters for the Terps. The last 2 to strike are U.S. Lacrosse Coaches of the Week, going back on the women's side. Shelley Clays Balcom at Hofstra as the Pride are off to their best start. On the men's side, it's Ted Spencer. Fairfield has made quite an impression. Greg Downing having an outstanding scoring year for Fairfield. Fans loving it in Annapolis. A 3-3 matchup between these two, the Mids and the Terrapins. We resume. Just over 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Drew Evans. Little stutter step move. Forced away. No clear passing lane for the freshman.
Drew Evans has got to go to the goal there. He's not even looking like he's going to dodge. Penn Navy's slides are not coming off of him. He's got to make his defender think that he's going to the goal.
Xander Ritz wouldn't mind going to the cage. Ritz knows that when he goes there, too, he can expect to feel it. Ritz was saying Navy's the type of team that likes to bully you. Evans, very widely recruited for Walters, and he sings that one off the mark.
That's what they're going to try to do, the Terps. Get Walters off the screens. Navy always knows where Walters is at all times. So they have to send some decoys and some first and second cutters, and then have Walters come along as a third.
Evans on the skip feed up top, and there's Russell denying Hartopoulos. Russell looking for the fast break outlet. He's got Harris knifing between defenders, and then slowing it up with Graham Gill.
What a save by Russell. Really stopping the Maryland run there.
Yeah, Hartopoulos again, right in his stick, stick side high. We saw Harry have a couple of problems with that on his end. Matt Russell seems to have no problem with it. Stick side high.
Flag down. Navy's about to get another man-up situation. Gill working against Sinoski, who is going to be whistled for a slash here in a matter of moments. Gill looking to turn the corner. Steve Looney on the outside. Ian Healy has to match up with him.
With the flag down like this, Joe, Navy's got to keep the ball in the box. As soon as the ball hits the ground or goes out of the box or is a save or a goal, they'll blow the whistle and stop the play.
Here comes Evan Boyle wearing 6 in the goal. That was Ben Bailey's number a season ago. This kid is very, very clever. That pass put on the ground, and now we hear the whistle, and the extra man comes for Navy. Moments ago, let's go back to Matt Russell. Brian, what does he do well here?
Matt Russell just holds his position right here. Hartopoulos helps him out about shooting stick side high, but Matt Russell's in great position, as you can see right here, sticks up. A lot of goalies drop their hands a lot when shots are taken, and that's why stick side high shots go in. He does not drop his hands at all. He's got his good ready position and makes a great save, and even better if he throws a better outlet pass to start some break.
Right now, we're looking at Navy trying to cash in once again. 2 for 2 on the man up. Where Maryland is struggling in the man advantage, Navy is really prospering and doing a nice job. They're getting the shots.
Billy Looney will connect with Ben Horn. Once more for Bill Looney, no shooting angle. 6 on 5 for the mids in goal, trying to break the 3-3 logjam on CSTV. Billy Looney, jump shot. That hit traffic in front. Arabido chases it down on the sideline. Whistle, timeout asked for by the midshipmen. We are just a little less than 40 seconds to go in this second quarter. And we remind you what's coming up at the half. We'll be back at the Field House in New York, hearing some words about news and notes. We'll also spend some FaceTime with Joe Walters, and also a closer look at last year's title game for the Mids. All that, a whole lot more coming up if you stay put with us on CSTV at the break. 3-3 between these two, and we've said they've met every year since 1946. The series history favors Maryland.
Favors Maryland 49-29, but the last 10 years, these teams have played neck and neck. They've had 4 6-5 games in a row in the late 90s and the year 2000, so these teams really duke it out.
With a score 3-3, Brian, from a situation of looking at possible adjustments, how might this game change in the second half?
Well, I think we all thought that this was going to be a 6-6 defensive battle, a slugfest, if you will. And I don't think it really will change a lot. I think it's going to be hardcore. It's going to be both teams trying to match up their short sticks on short sticks, trying to get Joe Walters involved a little bit, trying to get Looney's out in transition from Navy. But I really don't see the game changing a whole lot. Man-up situation, face-off, those are all going to become very, very important in battles like this.
Both of these teams have been very stingy in the first half this year, so 3-3 should come as no surprise as the Mids and Terrapins get ready to conclude this opening half.
And in a low-scoring game like this, 3-3, we're basically at halftime. You look at the small things, the ground balls, the face-offs, the man-up opportunities. You really have to maximize everything in such a tight defensive battle. And that was a great timeout by Coach Meade because he knows that he could score man up.
Maryland, just 5 red jerseys out there.
Maryland's coming out here. They know they're having a little problem on man down, so they're coming out a little more aggressive. Their guys are covering guys 15, 20 yards away.
Graham Gill just pegged Harry Alford square in the face mask with a rocket. 12 seconds in the half. So you want to play goal in Division I lacrosse. Harry Alford's got to be checking his fillings. 5 seconds, the pass will get away. It'll be Maryland ball.
That was exactly what Harry Alford needed right there. You know, sometimes it takes a shot. Sometimes it takes a shot that gets you right off of your head, all right, or your hands or your chest that really wakes you up and gets you going into a game. Maybe that's what he needs going into the second half.
Ricocheted up and caught him right in the face mask. Harry Alford and the Terrapins tangling with the midshipmen. We've completed 30 minutes on CSTV. The Terps and the Mids are deadlocked at 3 apiece. Plenty to come at the half. Fans enjoying this one between two longtime rivals. Stay with us at the break. Maryland and Navy dead even at 3.
Away from the goal, like off balance, and get a hard shot off, and it'll just stick corners.
There's no one that can shoot. Get rid of the ball quicker and so accurate and such power.
I'm honored for them to say that about me. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that, but I mean, I guess worked hard on that, you know, that aspect of my game, and I guess it's paid off a little.
I think Joe's different than a lot of guys who play college lacrosse because Joe has more than one shot. You know, a good shooter has one shot that they can go to, whether it be overhand or sidearm or 3/4 or bring it from his heel. Joe can do all of them, and he can move the ball around.
There's no question in my mind he's probably the best shooter in Division I lacrosse right now, and you know, I credit him to that because he comes out every day and plays hard, and you know, he works on it a lot.
It's all practice. Seriously, like, there's not much more you can do. I mean, you just need a stick, ball, and a goal. That's all you need. You can be out there for hours. Just shoot. That's all it is.
I'm hoping that he can take his game to the next level, even more carrying the ball, even more as a feeder, even more as a ground ball player, and even more as a rider. Those are the things that we're asking out of Joe this year, and more, quite honestly, as a leader. Somebody's got to step up to assume that leadership, and I'm hoping Joe will.
I can't wait to show everyone, you know, I'm back again, ready to shoot.
Heading into tonight's game, Walters' 3.5 points per game was good enough for 4th in the ACC. And next week, NCAA Lacrosse on CSTV continues as Army travels to Annapolis to compete in the annual Star Game. The Middies have won 7 in a row in the series, but this season, the 4th-ranked Black Knights of the Hudson are looking for revenge. That's Army versus Navy on CSTV next Saturday at noon Eastern. Stick around, there's more Breakaway from the Fieldhouse after this.
For fans, it's easy. For the teams, it's going to be just a little bit harder. For tickets, log on to faceofffphiladelphia.com. It doesn't matter how you get here, just get here.
For 20 years, Anheuser-Busch.
A lot of tradition on the field in Annapolis. Maryland in its 80th season, Navy its 98th. We're tied up at 3, 30 minutes in. A season ago, it was Navy finding a place for themselves in the ultimate game. Little Memorial Day Monday dust-up with mighty Syracuse. The Mids, opportunistic, taking the lead early. But they would lose their all-everything netminder Matt Russell to a shoulder injury, unable to continue. It would be Mike Powell capping off a 6-point day with his only goal, paving the way for the Orangemen. Their 9th NCAA crown. Jubilation by the final score of 14-13 wasn't a dry eye on the Navy side. Reflecting back on that day, the midshipmen came to realize their achievements were special, even in defeat, and you could sense their pride.
We took the team a long way, and we took the program back to a place that it deserves to be because of the tradition in the past.
If anything, we just became a stronger, tighter team and more determined than ever to go back there and win it. Because like once you're there, once you get the feeling, you know, playing the national championship in the Final Four, you know, it's addictive. Like you need to go back there.
Richie Meade, Mitch Handler, tough as nails, both of them. 3-3 at the half, and we're back on CSTV. It's time for stats and highlights.
This present.
And Paul, how about first half highlights?
We have some good highlights here, Joe. Bill McGlone getting the scoring started for the Terps, taking advantage of that short stick from behind the net. Graham Gill answering with the lefty cannon to the stick side of Harry Alford, staying away from his feet. And Pazanka showing the importance of the face-off man, starting the transition, and Berzner showing that he can shoot as well. Xander Ritz, I can do it as well, coming from behind the cage. And don't forget about that, the Rocket Man, Joe Walters. And then the one time by Looney. We thought Matt Russell wasn't going to be able to play potentially the ankle, but he's been the wall right there for the Mids. Doc, what do we see in the stats here after a very competitive first half?
Yeah, Paul, it seems like when I look at it, everything is pretty much even. The only thing we highlighted in yellow there is the extra man. Navy 2 for 3, Maryland 0 for 3. That's really the only difference in this game right now. Everything else is pretty even.
Steve Looney, the last man to strike. An extra man goal for Navy brings us 3-3 as we start quarter number 3 with Tamburino and Pazanka. Pazanka controls a face-off and then gets smoked. And we should tell you, Pazanka is playing with a very, very badly injured shoulder. He's got torn ligaments in there. Flag down. Penalty to come against Maryland soon as we hear the whistle.
Yeah. Look at this hit. Talk about a physical game. It's a yard sale. The midshipman, Pazanka, taking a beating.
That's a big hit right there, Paul. I mean, that is the tradition of Maryland and Navy right there. Guys are in the locker room. The coaches are probably screaming at them for 10 minutes, getting them all amped up to come out in the field there. And number 23 just runs over Pazanka.
He did.
Middle of the field.
He did a great job. I think at the end, though, he actually had his hands too far apart on his stick, and they called him for a cross-check.
So the Mids have been acting smartly on the extra man. They've got EMO goals from Gill and Steve Looney. We're tied up at 3, just getting started in the third quarter, with Navy in the gold and working 6-on-5. Pass gets away. Down on the ground, back behind for Berzner. He had an 8-assist game earlier this season. Good feet for Horn. Bullseye.
3 for 4 on the man up, Paul.
3 for 4, that could be the tail. Ben Horn showing how the California product can bring it himself. Great shot to the off stick of Alford. Very difficult for a goaltender to save. Making Alford move. Ben Horn, what a shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, we saw the first 2 going in, 6-side high. That one's offside high. That's a more traditional shot. Yes, like you said, those are one of the hardest shots to save out there, especially when it's going upper 90s.
Ben Horn with a pair of markers. He had 3 in an earlier season overtime loss at Bucknell, which is important for Navy in the Patriot League. Back they come. Russell makes the fine save, keeping his team on the lead as he denied Xander Ritz.
That was a great save there, Joe. Xander Ritz had about an 8-yard low-to-high shot. I don't know where it caught him, but it definitely hit part of his body, probably his shoulder or his glove.
Speaking of big games in the Patriot League, how about tomorrow? Bucknell at Army. If Bucknell wins, they secure the top seed in the Patriot League tournament, and we'll have the Patriot League Men's Division I final on CSTV.
Bucknell is really having a great season. Played Maryland very difficult. They lost only 14-10. They are showing that they can play with the elite in Division I.
Little hesitation move. Andrew Schwartzman back behind the cage, playing and starting an attack in place of Michael Phipps, who is not dressed for the Terrapins tonight. Phipps, they thought it was a bit of a stress reaction in his leg. Shin splints originally. Now they're thinking it's something muscular. He's out of the lineup. Great look backside, and it just bounced away. Hustle on the sideline. Walters popping free. Trying to swim through. McGlone determined to get to the cage. Ritz will pick it up and we hear the whistle. Procedure penalty gives it back to Navy.
Joe, we're taking a look at this low-to-high shot right there. That is going for the upper left, right corner there. Hits Matt Russell, I believe, on his left. Oh, he got a shift staff on it. That is a great, great save right there. That one was take for the upper corner.
Matt Russell, 21-3 as a starter since he took over for Seth Denola a season ago. On the move, another mid-strike. It is once again Steve Looney making his presence felt.
And it all starts with the first-team All-American Russell. That's what an elite goaltender does for a team. Can close the door on one end and give the offense the opportunity. And Looney with a right to left split.
Yeah, I can't blame Harry Alford on that one there. That one goes out to Brendan Healy, number 34. Does not make Looney go down the side and give his goalie a chance to make the save. Gives him the middle of the field, and that's not Harry Alford's fault right there.
Illegal procedure against the Terps on the draw. Maryland has the ball. We saw Harry Alford there hopping mad. Alford saying that he needs to be more focused this week. He needs to be more of a vocal leader for his defensive troops. Right now, the Terps in red finding themselves down by 2. It's the largest lead in this tight-knit game.
This is where momentum comes into play here. You know, Navy comes out, scores 2 quick ones. Maryland's got to try to get the next goal there before Navy gets up by 3. That's a huge, this next goal in the game I think is going to be a very pivotal part.
Navy, a team that has not beaten Maryland in Annapolis in 20 years, trying to take care of that trend tonight. Tommy Wallen. Little roll dodge, no sail. Defensive work turned in there.
Both teams do not want to let the opposition get a run because they both have solid defenses and great goaltending, especially for Navy with Russell. Big game experience, playing in front of 40,000 people in the NCAA tournament last year.
Marabito loops it over the top. They'll skip it for Wallen. Wallen shuttles in and fires, and Alford got a piece of that.
Shooting down at his feet there. We've seen that Harry Alford has looked his best when his shots have been from the waist down. If I'm Navy, I got to keep shooting up high until he makes a bunch of saves and proves me wrong.
Beautiful takeaway, well done there on the fly. It's the 19-year-old sophomore, Steve Wittenberg.
Seeing some of Wittenberg's takeaway ability. That was a great check. And you really want a defenseman of that caliber on the field. A guy who can strip the opposition and give your offense a much-needed possession.
And then Ryan Lang hooking up with Jimmy Burrell, and the Terps are away. Moving towards the 5-minute mark of the third quarter. Joe Beninati, Paul Carcaterra, Brian Doherty with you tonight from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis. Ian Healy on the pass. It will bounce away and go back over to Navy.
Yeah, Joe, we're back down here to Harry Alford save. There you go. Lower right-hand corner. Harry gets a stick out there and makes a nice save. He's got to keep it going. Everything's going to be fine. They're not down by more than, they're already down by 2 goals. It's not time to freak out and go crazy yet, but he does have to have some urgency and pick this game up a little bit.
The Mids on a 3-goal run against Alford. Here's a turnover. Maryland rides very well in settled situations as Russell just gets a piece of that bid from Walters. Walters was trying to go 5-hole.
And that's a great time to dodge for Joe Walters in transition. When it's 3-on-3, there's no slide package there. Walters knows that if he's able to gain separation from his man in the transition, he's going to get a great look. And Russell steps up once again.
That's a good example right there how lacrosse goal, you're not using your stick all the time. A lot of times, Matt Russell, all he did right there was we call closing the wickets right there. He just pulled his legs, closed them up right there, and that's taking about a 60-mile-an-hour shot right off your shin and liking it right there. And that's college lacrosse goaltending for you, Joe.
It's not easy to like. Drew Evans, one of the youngest Terps, lollipops one from Michael Hartopoulos, junior out of Long Island. Ian Healy shuffling the feet, working in the alley dodge. Once more, it's Evans. Marked there by Clipper Lennon, 4-0 student at the Naval Academy. Russell with a stop. Trying to fire out of there with the clear. Xander Ritz unsettled. Good stick. It was Hendler with the intercept. Evans picks it up. Little ragtag situation right now. Russell trying to help his own cause. Andrew Schwartzman ducking for cover.
This is what we're talking about, Maryland Navy right here. This is a battle. Guys are getting after it. Navy's defense was just brought it there, that possession.
They fight for it at the midfield line. It's flicked ahead. On the run, Bersner, and good hustle as it was Wittenberg staying with him stride for stride. Last year, Wittenberg, the Rookie of the Year for the Falcons of Air Force.
Wittenberg, once again, able to be the backbone of the Maryland defense. And if you see out on the field, Mike Hartopoulos, talk about a lacrosse family. Hartopoulos, brothers Nick and Chris went to Duke, and brother Sean starred at Princeton and won a national title.
And how about Duke this year, guys? One of the only unbeaten Division I teams along with Johns Hopkins. Hopkins is trying to set a record tonight trying to win for the 32nd consecutive time at Homewood, and they had to do it against the Blue Devils. Zach Greer, an impressive freshman, leading the nation in goals with better than 30.
Greer, a Canadian, really an outstanding finisher, but you can't forget about Duke's setup man, Danowski. Danowski does an unbelievable job of really spreading the field and being a force when he dodges and he creates. He's outstanding.
Who's going to be the creator now for Maryland? The Terrapins in a slugfest with Navy, just 3 goals on the board on their ledger. To get to the cage, try and force him to shoot the ball. He's not been shooting well.
Seems like they don't even have to do that, Joe. He's very unsure of himself. He's not even going to the goal himself.
Good skip inside for McGlone, and the pass was pickpocketed back. Back come the mids with Felber in charge. Clipper Lennon moves it for Bersner, and now Navy in the gold jerseys will slow the pace.
Look for Navy to get a good possession here. Really work with the clock. With a little bit over 7 minutes left in the third, Navy wants to possess the ball. They know if they can possess the ball, their defense will continue to be there for them in the fourth.
Midshipman at 7-2, Doc.
Yeah, there you go. You see Maryland's first midfield line is caught on defense right now. Bill McGlone, Brendan Healy are out there. Navy did a great job substituting right now. Now you're going to have Navy's offensive guys going against Maryland's offensive guys on defense. Should be a matchup problem for the Terps.
And the longer the possession goes, the after effects may play in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. The more gas the Maryland middies become. These are both big guys, too. Healy and McGlone, well over 200 pounds there.
Bill McGlone at 6'2", 205. Marabito hawked there defensively by Gavin Webb. Straight away, the mids will pull it out, isolating. Tommy Wallen got a step. Wallen fires and scores!
Tommy Wallen. Wow. Hats off to Tommy Wallen, the face-off man, primarily a utility guy, goes after the Maryland long pole, while his 2 line mates have the short sticks, McGlone and Healy on him. In a traditional righty-to-left split and a nice old-school high-to-low bouncer, Tommy Wallen.
Harry Alford victimized downstairs, and the unanswered run is now 4 for the mids. Maryland, though, wins the draw. The drought for Maryland, nearly 20 minutes. Burrell force-feeding the crease inside. Flag settles as we hear the whistle from the officiating crew, Messrs. Abbott, Matsko, and LaCour.
Guys, you know what's very interesting on that last goal by Wallen? Here you have a midfielder who plays both ends of the field, not a big offensive threat. The confidence that Coach Meade instills in all of his players for a guy like Wallen to go to the goal against the long pole when they're used to attacking the shorties. It really says a lot about the character.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if he knew that McGlone and Healy were out there playing defense or not, but you're exactly right. The fact that he just went there and went against the long stick and had a great shot against Harry Alford there.
Mike Felber docked with a minute penalty. So Maryland, needing to carve into a 3-goal disadvantage, works extra man. And they are trying to break a goose egg 0 for 3.
They have to get something here, I think. It's not, dire straits yet, but it's getting there. They got to get a goal, and it would be great if they got one on man up.
Walters playing patty cake with McGlone. Out of the 3-3 set. Now Walters motions for the formation to change. Walters, sharp angle. Well wide.
That's a tough angle right there for Walters. He tried to bring that left-handed, almost no angle, low to high to the top right, the near side of the goal right there. Very difficult shot.
From the end zone, we see the Navy defensive zone. McGlone for Walters. Back behind to Ritz. Walters steps and fires! Joe Walters.
Wow.
Doc, is it me or did he look away for his 100th career goal?
He gave it a quick little pump fake there. I'll let Paul take you through it and then maybe tell you some things he did.
Wow is right. Like I said at intermission, the Rocket Man, Joe Walters, really able to stretch the defense. Last time he went sidearm and went to the mid-level of the cage. That time back to the old overhand cannon.
the little look there to make believe that he was making the pass, that changes the angle.
That, to the viewer out there, it really doesn't see that, but as a goalie, that is what it's all about. It's called deception. Little things that shooters do that get you off your toes a little bit. Right there, that little look to the middle of the field, relax Russell for a second, and then not only the look, but how quick he got rid of it and brought it to the near side.
Some of the subtleties. First goal in, 21 minutes and change for Maryland. It's 6-4 now with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Now I think we got ourselves a game right here. I mean, that was a big goal for Maryland. If they get another one here to kind of get 2 in a row right there, we're going to go down to the wire.
One of the interesting things, too, many shooters are very predictable. How do you scout a guy like Joe Walters?
Here he comes again, and the same results.
Paul Carcaterra there for you guys, right on cue. He's going to take you through this replay one more time, but it's basically the same shot you saw the last time.
You'd think that Navy would stretch out and play Walters as a shooter. But right here, he goes overhand and goes mid-level. Great feed by Healy. And catches Russell, Doc, a little bit too high. He was beaten near pipe. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's Matt Russell for you. You know, that's the goods and bads of Matt Russell. He's going to come out there and attack you and make a lot of great saves.
Big face-off win for Tamburino. He scores! And we are tied in a heartbeat.
The Terps are rolling.
That they are. The Terps are rolling. That is just a grunt play by the Terps. Tamburino, the face-off man. We saw Pazanka earlier make a play offensively and start the break. Tamburino this time does it all himself. His eyes light up. He can't believe the slide isn't there, and he stings it by the first-team All-American. Russell can't believe it.
That caught Russell completely napping. He was thinking he's going to bring the ball down low. The defenseman actually checks the stick as he shoots the ball, which makes it incredibly difficult to read as a goalie. Right over his stick side high. Terps, 3 goals in a row. We're going to have ourselves a fantastic finish, I think.
3 goals in less than a minute for Tamburino's first collegiate tally. First of the year.
First of the year. What a great time to get it. Down by 6-5 at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. He's got to be fired up right now.
So answering the 4-goal run with 3 in succession. Deadlocked at 6, just over 4 minutes to play.
That's what face-offs do for you in this sport. If you can control the face-offs, you will get your opportunities. Normally, you don't see the face-off man actually cash in, but that time we did. Tamburino.
Graham Gill going to take it for a little walk now. Gill, a goal scorer in this evening's affair. Maryland leading the face-off story. Gill with a little split dodge, and then he's caught from behind. That was a wonderfully well-timed check by Ryan Lang.
There's some transition here for Maryland if they get it up.
Lang, one of the defensive short stick middies, will find Walters, and that will allow Coach Cottle to make the substitutions on the fly.
It'll be interesting to see here as this game continues to evolve if Navy will press out on Joe Walters when he's adjacent, when he's the next pass. He seems to be the only Terp who's stretching the defense from the outside.
You don't want him to get hot. He's had a couple of 6-goal games in his career. I think back to last year's ACC tournament when he blistered Tillman Johnson for 6. Maryland beating Virginia that day in the ACC final. Ian Healy on the move. Healy dodging 2. Walters. Little sidewinder pass for Hartopoulos. It's down on the ground. Denola looking for it.
This is important, Joe, as it was for Maryland to score a couple goals. To get it 6-6, it's very important for Navy right now to kind of answer that run. Runs in lacrosse, emotional mojo we call it, whatever it is, are very important. And the team that goes on the longest runs and holds the opponent to the shortest runs usually win.
He's Brian Doherty. I'm Joe Beninati. Paul Carcaterra joining us in the booth just the same here on CSTV in Annapolis, where it is a 6-6 game. Russell with a good intercept on a centering feed, and then this is goalie interference. It'll be Navy ball.
Free clear, Navy ball at the X. Anytime the goalie has the ball in with 1 foot in the crease right there, you're not allowed to touch him. If you do, and the ball hits the ground, you get a free clear up here, hence Navy's ball midfield.
Look for Navy to possess the ball right here. Maryland went on a 3-goal run. They want all their offensive players to get a touch and then go after the matchup, which will probably be a shorty from up top.
As the mids work offensively, William Wallace in possession. It is a 6-6 game with less than 2 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Osgood on the perimeter. Bersner back behind. Marabito seeing very, very quality minutes as a freshman.
He's a good player, too. I've seen a couple of the looks Marabito's had, and I'm very impressed. You know, for a first-year guy out here, he has tremendous vision on the field.
Good athlete, too. He was a football player in high school, had a 98-yard interception return. On the lacrosse field now and focusing on goal scoring. The midshipmen and the Terrapins are even at 6. William Wallace, shaded there by Lang. Guys, a season ago, we saw a wonderful game at this stadium. Beautiful moves by Bersner, and the jump shot went wide. We saw Hopkins in here against Navy. There was a great crowd that day, and another sensational crowd tonight enjoying this affair.
An electric crowd here this evening. And Navy is really going to feed off this crowd in the fourth quarter.
14,124. That's a lot of people down here in Annapolis for a lacrosse game, Joe.
You can imagine, as that continues to set attendance standards in the top 3 all time at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. Imagine what it's like over at Byrd Stadium when Maryland entertains the Mids, or Johns Hopkins, or Virginia for that matter. Lacrosse, such a hotbed in the state of Maryland. These two schools separated by only a half-hour's drive. Bersner, Hawk there off the outside of the goal. Alford corrals.
Bersner was able to get separation. He probably should have taken one more step. It really would have increased his angle, and now we have a break for the Terps.
Tyler Harrith will get it across. One of the long stick midfielders. Xander Ritz in control. Skipping for Walters. One more to the front, away from Lang. A race for it. Seth Denola is there as the siren sounds, ending quarter number 3. But the scoring ramps up. We were 3-3 at the end of 2 quarters. But the two teams explode to split 6. It is 6 all after 3. The excitement of the fourth quarter coming your way from Annapolis right after the Navy. 6-6 after 3. Plenty to shout about. Now that the basketball tournaments are over, it's time for you to order the official NCAA men's and women's basketball championship home videos. Call 866-634-3903 or log on to ncaasports.com/home video. Fourth quarter about to unfold. Pazanka wins the draw. If you're just tuning in with us on CSTV, we're in Annapolis, Maryland, just away from the yard at the Naval Academy. The midshipmen are dressed in gold, Maryland in the red, and we have a hold here that is going to give the ball to Navy.
Face-offs are going to be tremendous in this fourth quarter. Pazanka won that one cleanly. Tamburino, the one before, was able to cash in with a goal of his own.
No one's really dominated, Paul, on the face-off. It seems like Pazanka wins 2 in a row, and then Tamburino comes back with 2 or 3 in a row as well. No one's getting a real good groove in there.
They're battling it out. 2 great face-off men, both with high percentages.
Steve Looney on the alley dodge, coming back to his right. Steve Looney already with a pair tonight. Ben Horn has a couple too for the midshipmen. A season ago it was a trio of Loonies on this midshipmen squad. Brother Brendan has moved on after commencement.
That's got to be pretty special, being able to play with 2 of your brothers in the magical season that the Mids had last year in 2004.
It was magical. They finished 15-3, runners up to Syracuse in the national finals. Graham Gill, who was huge in the tournament a season ago. Great move there. Alford fighting away that bid from Billy Looney. Ground ball vacuumed up there on the run. That was Travis Holmes.
Jimmy Burrell right before that, too, laying a big hit. This game's going to get pretty physical, I think, in the fourth quarter. A lot of guys, this is a dogfight down there. And
Burrell, another transfer from Air Force Academy. We look at the numbers flash by between these two teams through 45 minutes plus. Burrell's speed, his greatest attribute. He can really wheel.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be, he's laid the 2 biggest hits in this game so far, coming in off the face-off, which was a penalty. And I think that one right there was a big hit as well.
Ritz looking over the top. Walters from deep. Missed everything there as Felber got a stick into him.
If you look on that last one, Ritz has to be behind the cage to back up the shot as Walters. They can't afford to lose a possession on a missed shot. Walters is going to shoot those. He's going to extend the defense and really make them play, but it has to be back up.
That's a little too deep, though, even for the great Joe Walters right there. I was counting up from up here. That was about 17 yards. The difference between shooting from 17 yards and right around 12 yards is monumental. Those extra 5 yards there, you're not going to score too many from that far.
Especially with goalies with the reaction time like these two. Navy and Maryland even at 6. Marabito had a couple of goals in that disappointing loss against Georgetown. He's been relatively quiet so far tonight.
And if you look on the clear, what the mids do, they put a midfielder at the X during their clear and then substitute through the box and send him on a break.
Little quick shake inside, Alford making the save as Bersner found his way to the crease, and a flag hits the turf.
You know, the mids have had no luck shooting low on Alford, and they're continuing to do this in the second half. And they're not having much success. We saw the shot before was low, and then Bersner tries to sneak it low. Alford is so explosive with his step that you're not going to beat him low.
Yeah, he really gets real down low in his stance, and I think that's the key to why he's so good down low on shots. But if you look at Bersner, that's the first Navy attackman that really has taken the extra step. Paul got into the middle of the field. He did pay for it, but he did draw a penalty as well. That was good play all around right there.
Nail-biting time if you're a Maryland fan, because that graphic just indicated how explosive Navy has been extra man. 75% on the night. Looking to break the log jam.
Typically, you want to have your extra man working at about 35-40%, so 75. That's exceptional.
Billy Looney hoists one well wide. The sophomore from Silver Spring, Maryland. He and Harry Alford grew up playing lacrosse together. Alford, the goalie for Maryland. Alford said, you know, he's a real cut-up. He's a real goofball was the word Harry used. And I told him I was going to say that to Billy, and I did. You won't be laughing too hard, though, if this one goes past him anytime soon. From the outside, knocked down by McGill. Bersner, jump shot. Score! John Bersner! Once again, the storyline behind Navy's success. The extra man heating up. Bersner with little room and little time.
Bersner with the sneak shot. I'm sitting here up in the